If you want to come across as super smart, you want to use words that people generally associate with high intelligence. Here are 10 of them. 1. Pernicious. The root of the word Niki comes from Latin nacis and means violent death or harm. Prefix per in Latin means completely, and the suffix ous in English helps form an adjective and means that which. And so, the literal meaning of pernicious is that which causes complete harm or violent death. To be pernicious is to be extremely harmful or destructive. Here's an example of how to use the word in a sentence. The pernicious virus spread throughout the city, causing many people to become seriously ill. 2. Loquacious. The root of the word loquacy comes from Latin loqui and means to speak, and the suffix ous in English helps form an adjective and means he who. And so, the literal meaning of loquacious is he who speaks. To be loquacious means to be talkative. Here's an example of how to use the word in a sentence. A loquacious woman at the party never let anyone else get a word in edgewise. 3. Erudite. The root of the word rude comes from Latin rudis and means ignorant or unskilled. Prefix e in Latin means out of or away from, and the suffix ite in English means belonging to. And so, the literal meaning of erudite is belonging to someone taken out of ignorance. To be erudite means to be well educated and knowledgeable. Here's an example of how to use the word in a sentence. The erudite professor spouted facts and figures that no one else knew. This means that the professor is having or showing great knowledge. 4. Redolent. The root of the word ol comes from Latin olere and means to give off a smell. Prefix re in Latin means back or again, and the suffix ent in English helps form an adjective and means that which. And so, the literal meaning of redolent is that which gives off smell. To be redolent is to be highly aromatic. The word can also be used to describe a person or place that evokes positive memories. Here's an example of how to use the word in a sentence. Her house is redolent of my grandmother's cinnamon buns. This means that the house smells like cinnamon buns and reminds the speaker of his grandmother. 5. Cacophony. The root of the word phon comes from Greek phone and means sound. Prefix kako is kakos in Greek and means bad. And the suffix y in English helps form a noun and means something related to. And so, the literal meaning of cacophony is something related to bad sound. Cacophony is used to describe loud and unpleasant noise. Here's an example of how to use the word in a sentence. The cacophony of barking dogs was driving the neighborhood crazy. 6. Circumlocution. The root of the word locu comes from Latin loqui and means to speak. We just saw this root in the word loquacious. Prefix circum in Latin means around, and the suffix iun in English helps form a noun and means the state of or an act of. And so, the literal meaning of circumlocution is an act of speaking around. Circumlocution refers to speaking in a roundabout way that uses more words than are necessary to communicate a point. Here's an example of how to use the word in a sentence. The politician's circumlocutions made it difficult to understand what he was trying to say. This means that the politician is speaking in a lengthy and roundabout manner without ever getting to the point. 7. Equanimity. The root of the word anim comes from Latin animus and means mind or spirit. Prefix equa is equus in Latin and means even, and the suffix ity in English helps form a noun and means the state of. And so, the literal meaning of equanimity is the state of being even-minded. Equanimity refers to the calmness of mind and evenness of temper, especially when under pressure. Here's an example of how to use the word in a sentence. The rude customers did not disturb his equanimity. This means that the rude customers did not affect his state of mind or composure. 8. Superfluous. The root of the word flu comes from Latin fluere and means to flow. Prefix super in Latin means over or beyond, and the suffix ous in English helps form an adjective and means that which. And so, the literal meaning of superfluous is that which overflows. To be superfluous means to be more than what is necessary or required. Here's an example of how to use the word in a sentence. The data they gathered was superfluous and needed to be reduced. This means that the data they gathered was more than what was necessary. 9. Nebulous. The root of the word nebule comes from Latin nebula and means cloud, and the suffix ous in English helps form an adjective and means that which. And so, the literal meaning of nebulous is that which is cloudy. To be nebulous means to be unclear or vague. Here's an example of how to use the word in a sentence. The instructions were so nebulous that no one knew what to do. This means the instructions were so unclear. 10. Quintessence. The root of the word essence comes from Latin esse and means to be. Prefix quint is quintus in Latin and means fifth, the purest element which is believed to be the Spirit of God. And so, the literal meaning of quintessence is to be pure. Quintessence refers to the most perfect, purest example of something. Here's an example of how to use the word in a sentence. My mother was the quintessence of love. This means that a speaker's mother was the perfect example of love. If you want to expand your vocabulary even more, this video here will help you. In this video, you will learn 5 great English words to convey that something is beautiful. You will also discover the complete meaning of each word, when to use them, and some example sentences. So, go ahead and